Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Vodka Voyeur, which is the themed cocktail for today's podcast. So, I'm going to start with our shaker. In that shaker, we're going to add 3 whole strawberries. And the recipe calls for 3 whole grapes. Mine are a little small, so I'm putting in 6. Then we're going to add 4 basil leaves. 4 leaves of basil. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Put that all in there, and now we're going to muddle it. So this is my first time muddling, so please be patient. As I've said, I'm not a bartender. I just play one on the internet. So wow, that actually looks pretty good. Right, to that we are going to fill our shaker with some crushed ice. Oops. Good enough? And we're going to add 1.5 ounces of vodka. And we shake. Then we take a rocks glass filled with ice. And we strain it in there. Strain it in there. There you go. Vodka Voyeur. Not bad. Not bad. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Greg and I have a slight disagreement this week regarding what constitutes a stalker. FYI, dictionary.com defines a stalker as a person who pursues game, prey, or a person stealthily. You will notice in this definition there is no mention of any type of exemption from being labeled a stalker for having good intentions while stealthily pursuing someone. After listening to the podcast, you can decide if you are Team Greg or Team Karen. But whatever you decide, We are both confident that you will enjoy this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, Body Double. P.S. I'm totally right. Email Greg at scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com and tell him he's wrong. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go. Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. Karen,
Greg.
how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm okay.
Consistency is good.
So today's movie, I believe, was my choice, wasn't it?
It was your choice, yes.
Okay. So the movie we watched for today's episode was Body Double from 1984, directed by Brian De Palma, which is why we did it, because it's his birthday. His birthday is September 11th. So a few days after this episode comes out will be Brian De Palma's birthday.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled. Is he still alive?
Yes, he is still alive. He's 80 years old.
Oh, he's got some time left.
And I do have a cocktail as well.
Well, of course you do.
So the drink I have chosen for this episode is the Vodka Voyeur. Karen, would you like to know how to make it?
I would.
So first, the ingredients. We're going to need vodka, 3 whole strawberries, 3 whole grapes, 4 basil leaves, 1 teaspoon of sugar, crushed ice, and ice cubes.
What kind of grapes did you use?
I used Concord grapes. What kind of grapes did you use?
Red grapes.
Same thing.
Yeah,
Those are
not
Concord.
white. Okay.
So basically, you put the strawberries, grapes, basil, and sugar in a shaker and muddle it.
It muddled pretty quickly.
Yeah, mine did too. I was very surprised at how well I muddled that shit.
Yes.
I muddled that shit like nobody's business.
I was a good muddler.
First time I ever muddled, and I killed it. Fill the shaker with crushed ice. Then you add the vodka. And it says to add 1.5 parts. I used 1.5 ounces. How much did you use, Karen? Same. Shake and strain into a rocks glass filled with ice. Should we give our listener time to make his own or her own?
Our listener, yes.
Hold on. We're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen and I were just
Reminiscing about our excellent muddling.
yes. All right. Karen, do you have a brief synopsis for this film?
I do, but I don't think it's 100% accurate.
No, we'll see.
But after losing an acting role and his girlfriend, Jake Scully finally catches a break. He gets offered a gig house sitting in the Hollywood Hills. While peering through the beautiful home's telescope one night, he spies a gorgeous blonde dancing in her window. But when he witnesses the girl's murder, it leads Scully through the netherworld of the adult entertainment industry on a search for answers, with porn actress Holly Body as his guide.
That was pretty close, but she was not a blonde.
No, she was not. That's what I said. It wasn't 100% accurate.
Yeah, she's definitely a brunette.
Agreed.
Portrayed by Deborah Shelton.
Well, that's not who's dancing, though.
Well, I don't know. But I like me some Deborah Shelton. I'm just going to
Do
say
you?
that right now. Yes.
She's very pretty.
Yeah, she was Miss USA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like first runner up in the Miss Universe pageant back in the day. But anyway,
Oh, I'd never heard of her before this.
so are we ready to get into the film? Am I forgetting anything?
I don't know. Do we have any corrections?
No.
What number is this?
This is episode 20, Karen.
I know. That's a big deal, right?
How could I not have known that? You knew that?
I did.
This just got
Woohoo
special.
for us. Yeah. Woo for us. We're killing it. We're 20 in.
All right. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right. Body Double, 1984 by Brian De Palma.
He wrote it or directed it?
I think a little of both.
Okay.
Yes. He and another guy co-wrote the screenplay. And I have something to say about that later.
Okay.
Film opens and we have credits.
Your favorite.
Yes, but there is a scene to watch. There's Froggy's Fog.
Yes, there is. Wolves howling.
Yes.
Palm trees.
Yes. And then we see a glittery vampire, is what I call him.
I thought it was a punk rocker until he turned his head. He's in a casket.
Yes.
It's like a cutaway.
They're filming a movie, right? And the camera's panning down through the cemetery, and he's supposed to be under the earth in a casket.
Yes.
And they zoom in on him. And then we see Dennis Franz,
Yes.
who played Sipowicz in Hill Street Blues. He's the director of this horror film. And apparently the punk rock vampire has claustrophobia, I wrote.
I thought a panic attack. I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. So they pull him out, walk him out of there and tell him to go home, take a few days. And then the set catches on fire.
He's frozen in there, though. He cannot move. That's how terrified he is, how claustrophobic he is. Yeah. And then the set just catches on fire. Everything goes to shit. And he tells him to go home.
Then we finish the credits and they see the actor leaving the studio.
At first, I didn't put that together because all the makeup was gone. I didn't know it was the same.
Let me ask you right now, before we get into it, who does this guy remind you of? Anybody?
David Soul from Starsky and Hutch.
No. Have you ever seen this film before, Karen?
No, I have not.
I have. I've seen it a few times because I rented it way back in the day and probably had it for, I guess we had it for a night back in the day, or do we have it for more?
You had like 3 nights or something.
So I watched it. So for the last 30 or so years, I thought the guy who starred in this film was Bill Maher.
Bill Maher?
Yes. Doesn't that guy look like Bill Maher?
I don't know.
Like maybe a young Bill Maher?
I guess, but I don't know what a young Bill Maher looks like.
He does. Trust me.
Okay. He looks more like David Soul.
They could be body doubles.
Ooh, clever.
I'm serious. I didn't realize it wasn't Bill Maher until today when I watched it again. I found out it's this other guy, Craig Wasson.
Yeah. I never heard of him.
No.
Did he do any? Probably didn't do much after this.
Don't know.
Anyway, he gets in his car and I didn't realize it was the same person. But after I realized that, I see he's getting off of work early because he had this episode.
Correct.
And it took me a minute to put all that together. So he's leaving work early, everyone.
In his car.
Yes.
We'll get to the car later. I don't have it right here. I have it later.
Great.
Because he just jumps in it.
It's not in good shape either, but.
And he goes to the Tail o' the Pup hot dog stand.
Yep.
You used to live in California, Karen. Do you know anything about that hot dog stand?
No, I didn't live in Southern California, but.
I'm sure it's like world famous or some shit.
You think?
Probably. So then he arrives at home.
Well, wait, he orders a ton of stuff. Okay. Like 2 hot dogs, fries, onion rings, and 2 drinks. And the guy says $4.99. And I know it was what year, 1984, but still it made me laugh.
Yeah. Tail of the Pup was an iconic Los Angeles, California hot dog stand, actually shaped like a hot dog.
It was shaped like a hot dog.
Built in 1946, the small walk-up stand has been noted as a prime example of novelty architecture. So apparently it's still there.
It was cheap eats in the day. It probably still is. I guess hot dogs are. But anyway, he's very excited. He's got his hot dogs in the car and he's driving home.
Apparently it's
He's
not still open, but
aw,
somebody is
preserved it in their front
someone
yard.
is trying to bring it back and restore it to its original state and open it again. So Jake arrives at home and he hears his wife. Or it's not his wife. I thought it was his wife.
He's putting the food on the table because he's very excited because he's home early.
Yes.
There's a neon Jake and Carol sign.
Correct. Yes. And I zoomed in on a picture and I thought they were married. I thought it was like a wedding photo, but apparently it wasn't. They aren't married. So it's his girlfriend.
It's his girlfriend, yeah.
So he goes through the apartment looking for her.
This isn't good. You can just tell it's not good because she's laughing and giggling.
You know it's going to go bad, but he has no clue.
Sees the dog.
He's a dumbass. So he ends up finding his wife with another dude in their bedroom.
He opens the bedroom door and the Warrant song comes on. Is that Warrant that sang that?
What?
I Saw Red.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Because he opens the door, he saw red and he closed the door, which is exactly what he does. They lock eyes and he closes the door.
And we see 2 natural bare breasts, Karen.
Well, that's true.
Gonna start a tally. So we have 2 so far.
Well, you're going to need a calculator.
There's not as much as
Wicker Man.
But yeah, Jake goes to the bar. Apparently he's quit drinking, but he orders a Jack Daniels.
Neat.
Yes. And we know that because the bartender says, I thought you quit drinking.
He does. And I didn't know what neat meant until I was in graduate school.
Straight?
It means no ice. Yeah. I didn't know what it meant until I remember in graduate school, someone explaining it to me.
So then he and the bartender, apparently they're friends, but they have a little thing there where he tells them to keep the glass filled and he tells them, fill your own glass and puts the bottle in front of them. And then, they talk and the bartender offers him a place to stay.
Which is nice.
Because of that damn Carol.
Yeah.
Next, we see Jake looking through a paper.
Well, they show him on a very uncomfortable couch. Sleeping. It's not, it's a messy bachelor pad. It's an uncomfortable couch. He can't sleep. He goes to get coffee at the market, and then he's looking at casting notices.
The first one he goes to is for some Shakespeare thing. He doesn't seem to do well. They show a little bit of it. Then he goes to another casting call. Is this where he runs into Sam?
I think he's run into Sam multiple times already.
He does. He's introduced to Sam by, I think, Billy.
Everywhere he goes, Sam is there, but I didn't notice it at first.
At the first casting call, he recognizes a friend of his named Billy, I believe, and then Billy introduces him to another guy named Sam who is there as well. And after that, he and Sam keep showing up at the same casting calls.
They were similar age, Sam looks a little older.
Yeah, just because he has a little more thinning hair, I think. So then we cut to a scene in the acting class, because at one point Jake tells Billy, is it Billy? Yeah, he says, hey, I'll see you or Billy says, hey, I'll see you at class. And he says, oh, we have class tonight? And he's like, yeah. So they're both taking acting classes together. And he's up there on the stage and he's recalling a time when he was very afraid as a child playing hide and seek. And the instructor tries to get him to cry out for help, but he can't do it.
He's playing a game with his brothers called Find the Sardine.
Yes.
I think, or something, which is basically hide and seek.
Yes.
But this is showing where his claustrophobia comes from.
Yeah, he's hiding behind a freezer when he was a child from his brothers playing this game. He's struggling. Like he can't even cry out for help. He's like frozen. He keeps saying, I can't. The teacher keeps like
yelling at him. Cry for help.
Act.
Yes.
You have to act. Cry out for help. He says, I can't. I'm afraid. So then Sam is there watching this. And he interrupts the lesson and kind of sticks up for Jake. Kind of tells the teacher, hey, this is a brain fuck. Is this a class or what? What's
a mind fuck.
Yeah. And then he grabs Jake and takes him out of the class and says, this is an exit as he's walking out.
And so, where do they go?
They go back to the bar, of course.
Yes.
That's where men go to do manly things.
After acting class.
Yes. Then we learn that Sam says he is separated from his wife. Yeah,
because Sam checks out the waitress right off the bat.
Jake asks, Jake's, are you married? He says,
aren't you married? Yeah. And then
this is where I find out that Jake is not married to Carol.
Right.
He tells Sam the whole story about catching her with another dude and he says her face was glowing. And they have a conversation about like that. How do you make her face glow? I've never been able to make her face glow, whatever.
But he says he keeps reliving it, which makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
you would.
absolutely.
So it turns out Sam is house sitting at a place, and he has to go out of town for a few weeks up to Seattle for some actor shit. And he says, hey, how would you like to stay in there and house sit while I'm away? Since Jake needs a place to stay. Jake thinks this is really good news, right?
Well, yeah. He doesn't have to sleep on the uncomfortable couch in the messy bachelor pad.
So next we see the house, and it's built like a spaceship.
That's what I
Like a
said
UFO.
too.
It's like a saucer, a flying saucer, high up in the sky.
And you have to take a, what do you call it?
Escalator. They were riding an escalator up to it
Right.
because they weren't walking; they were riding up to it when they
Right.
went into it
A
originally.
covered escalator. It is a spaceship house, but it's kind of weird because it's got windows all around it.
Yes.
Kind of looks like the Seattle Space Needle or something,
Yes.
the very top, but it's one room. There's the bedroom, the bar. You never see anything but the bedroom and the bar, but it doesn't seem like there's
I
other
assume there's a
rooms.
bathroom or something
Well,
in
and a
the
kitchen.
interior in the center.
But in the other part of the circle, I guess.
So Sam and Jake have a drink at the bar. And
Well, and
Sam-
he tells them the most important thing is to water the plants.
yes,
And there's a lot of plants.
there are a lot of plants. And then
They toast to Hollywood.
yes, they're looking out the windows. They have a view overlooking Hollywood. This is in the Hollywood Hills. This house is. And then Sam tells Jake there's one special feature of the house. Then they go to the telescope.
Yeah, it's a hell of a telescope, too.
And apparently across the way in another house, there's a girl who dances around in sheer negligee every night at around the same time.
Which I'm just going to tell you is so ridiculous, but whatever. Okay. By herself.
People have
Every
their
night
things.
at the same time, she dances around by herself.
And we see two more bare breasts.
She's brunette, though. This is where
She
she's
is a brunette.
Yeah.
And then we see her take some jewelry off and put it in a safe, a wall safe, which is behind a mirror. And I made a note. The Amazon X-ray says it didn't list anything except the people in each scene. It didn't list any trivia or anything like it usually does. It just lists the actors in each scene, and it lists the actor as Deborah Shelton.
It looked like her. It didn't look like Melanie Griffith. It did look like her.
But we're getting ahead. So I thought that was interesting. So I don't know if it was her or not, but it says it was. Sam leaves. He has a plane to catch. He's got to fly out to Seattle or whatever. Then later that night, Jake goes back to the telescope.
He's uncomfortable, but he can't stop himself.
I wrote, he saw what I thought was a robber stealing from the safe, but turns out it wasn't a robber. Apparently it was like the girl's boyfriend, husband, whatever, because they argue. And you can kind of tell that she knows him.
Mm-hmm.
And he slaps her around a little bit and leaves. So did you know who that was when you saw it? This was your first time seeing it?
No, it's a guy. Took some money and he leaves and the woman cries.
Okay. So you had no idea who it was.
No.
All right.
He's in a gangster outfit, I wrote. Like
He's wearing
got
a hat and
a
glasses.
fedora. Yeah. And
Kind
a
of like
suit.
he's trying to keep his identity a secret from anyone who may be watching from across
Yes.
the way.
Kind of like that. Yes.
But he has a build and hair and everything is very similar to someone we've already seen. That's all I'm going to say. And I noticed it, but I don't know if I noticed it because I've seen it before or not.
Yeah, I didn't notice it.
Okay.
No, I thought it was a robbery, but you're right. She does seem familiar with him, and then he does smack her around.
So next day, Jake's agent calls, says he's been trying to find him, hasn't been able to get a hold of him. It tells him that he has been fired from the vampire film. I think it's called Vampire's Kiss, too, was the name of the film. So Jake
And
gets
he's
upset.
not happy.
No.
Yeah.
And he goes and confronts the director, Ruben, who is Dennis Franz Sipowicz. And the director kicks him off the set.
Yeah, he's escorted out. So that
Yeah.
just means he has nothing to do now, right?
He's an unemployed actor.
Yes, he has nothing to keep him busy.
Later that night, as Jake is watering the plants, he goes to the telescope to watch the woman dance again.
And she is.
And she is. And she does have a tattoo on her ass, right?
Yeah, you do see that.
It comes up later, but she does have a tattoo on her ass.
Yes.
And
she's in a thong. Is she in a thong?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know if she is. I don't think she is. It's pretty. But she has a belly band, like a fancy necklace around her abdomen, jewelry.
Yeah. And Jake sees what appears to be a satellite dish repairman welding on a satellite dish on the property as well. And Jake sees that the man sees the girl dancing as well and stares at her.
Yeah, so they're both doing the same thing.
Correct.
But there's an anklet that she's got,
yes,
diamonds, and I thought that was stolen in the scenes before, but I guess it wasn't.
No, I think he was just taking money.
Oh, before. Okay.
The guy was. So next scene, we cut to the next day. Jake is at the farmer's market in his blue 1967 Camaro RS convertible. Karen.
Damn it.
You know what's coming.
You figured that out because I couldn't tell what kind it was. It's a light blue car.
Yeah. It's like it is a powder blue. It's a 67 Camaro RS convertible. What's the average retail of that car today? Average, not in great condition, just average.
$38,000.
You're about $1,000 off, or $600 off. Really, it's $28,400.
No, I said 38,000. So I'm $10,000.
So you're $10. You're $10,000 off.
Yeah. I like your math better, but I have to admit it's 10,000. Okay.
What could you buy that car new for? Brand spanking new, right off the lot in 1967.
$3,200.
You're a little high again. $2,572.
That was a lot closer.
Relatively, yeah. Well, you were closer to the high retail.
Well, I'd want the fancy.
I'll give you that. So the high retail value of it today is $40,000.
Oh, well, that's the
only. As always, you always go for the high retail.
Right. I'm not gonna get the low retail one. I'm gonna sell way more cupcakes at the bake sale. I'm getting the high end one.
So he jumps in his 1967 Camaro RS convertible with his groceries and starts driving back to the house. And as he's driving along, he has to come to a stop because a couple of farmers have lost their load in the road.
Oh, I thought they were landscapers that were just cleaning up.
Whatever. They lost their load in the road.
They did.
Could be landscapers. It did look like bamboo or some shit. I don't know.
It was like they had trimmed trees.
Yeah. And Jake is forced to stop. And he happens to be stopped right in front of the entrance to the house where the woman who dances lives.
Isn't that convenient?
Yeah, because Jake sees her come down her drive and through her gated drive in her Mercedes.
Oh, crap.
I didn't go.
Okay, good.
No, it's a Mercedes. That's all you need to know. Right?
She's got money.
She does, apparently. So Jake is waiting there to go. And then he sees the man who was working on the satellite down the road.
Yeah, call him the creepy guy. I don't know what else. Yeah.
In his 1982 Ford Bronco. You know what a 1982 Ford Bronco is worth today, Karen? Average retail.
$20,000.
No, it's an 82 Ford Bronco, Karen. It's not a 67. So it hasn't quite reached classic status, I don't think.
$13,000.
No.
$6,000.
Okay, that is about the high retail. So
really?
I'll give you that. Yeah. 6,225 is the high retail for an
Really?
Yeah, for an 82 Ford Bronco.
Was something wrong with them?
I don't know.
Or there must have been a shit ton of them.
What do you think you could buy that for new? Sticker price of that car in 1982.
About the same.
It's pretty close.
What's it worth now? Wait.
High retail, 6,225.
6,500.
Actually, $9,899.
So more. This is the first one.
Yeah, so this is the first one that has dropped in value, but it's also probably the newest one we've done too. It's an 82. Gotcha. So it hasn't reached that classic status.
I think there were a lot of those too. I think they were popular.
So
When was this? 1984? I knew someone
was
who had one of
84.
those. Yeah.
So Jake watches as the girl driving the Mercedes leaves and the guy in the Bronco follows her. And Jake follows right behind. And they all pull into a parking garage.
Yeah, she goes to valet.
Yes. And she drops her car off and then she goes to a payphone and begins talking.
Yeah, there's a line of payphones.
Yeah, like 4 of them. And she begins talking to someone about being beat up by that guy the previous night.
Yeah, I think she says he hit me again.
And she makes arrangements to meet someone. And Jake is at another payphone,
Pretending. Yeah,
pretending to be on the phone listening. Then she hangs up and goes up the escalator. He follows her.
Well, she says she will meet whoever it is at the beach motel and she'll wear something special.
Special.
Yeah. She goes up the escalator.
And the satellite repairman is there as well.
But he's following her. Jake is
Yes.
following her way too close.
That's what I wrote. Jake is following her pretty close. That's my next line.
Any woman would notice, would feel that we're trained to be aware of our surroundings. And if someone was that close behind you, you would stop or something to make sure he is right on her.
Yeah. And every time she stops, he stops. So
Exactly.
he's not being
he's a terrible
coy
follower.
at all or whatever.
Yeah.
And I made a note right here that the X-ray on Amazon Prime Video says her name is Gloria.
Oh, well, we don't find that out for a while.
I know, but I call her Gloria from now on.
All right.
And the satellite repair guy is following as well. That's my next line. So Gloria goes into a lingerie store and Jake watches through the window. Gloria goes to a changing room. She picks up some underwear off the
table
display or whatever.
Yeah.
Goes to the saleswoman and the saleswoman gives her another pair of the same underwear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes into a changing room to put on the underwear. She leaves the curtain open just enough so that Jake can see in through the window.
It's like a foot.
And the girl working the store notices Jake and she calls security.
As she should.
And says, I think we have a problem.
So he's peeping again.
Yes.
He's a peeper.
Then Jake sees the satellite repair guy looking through the opposite window of the store.
He doesn't have as good a view.
No, probably not. The security guy comes up and says, can I help you? And he says, no, I don't think so. And he runs to find the repair guy, the satellite repairman.
Yeah, the creepy guy. Yeah.
And he gone. They gone. She gone. Everybody's gone. Jake runs back and he's looking all around trying to find out where everybody went. Then he sees Gloria in the elevator, one of those glass elevators.
Yeah, it is a glass elevator.
Then he looks and sees the repairman running down the stairs. Like he's going to go to the bottom. And when she gets out, he's going to do something or whatever. Right. I'm sure that's what Jake thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake runs and gets on the elevator with Gloria.
Just the two of them.
Yep. Just the two of them. They go to the next floor and 15 people walk in to the elevator. Like they just got done playing tennis. It looked like to me.
That's what it looked like to me too.
Bunch of tennis players. And then Jake starts getting very claustrophobic again.
Yeah, they get pushed up against the back of the elevator because there's so many people and he starts sweating.
And he's very close to Gloria as well.
But he's in a panic mode.
He is.
So
yeah, he's not enjoying it at all.
No, he's not.
So then the elevator stops at the next floor and the satellite repair guy is standing there, but there is no room in the elevator for him.
Yeah. But he does smile.
He smirks.
Yeah.
So did the satellite repair guy look familiar to you?
No.
Okay. I'm not going to run it till the end. Then they go to the ground floor and everyone gets off the elevator. Gloria hands her ticket to the valet.
Mm-hmm.
Then she puts the bag with her old underwear because she's still wearing the new ones, right?
Oh, I thought she threw her new ones away. I gotcha.
She puts the bag with her old underwear in it in the trash.
Gotcha. I didn't catch that. I thought she had a change of heart and just threw away the underwear.
No,
I didn't realize she walked out of the store wearing it, but that makes much more sense. I'm
pretty sure she did. Yeah.
No,
I don't think they let you try on underwear and then not.
Well, they don't let you try on underwear without underwear. So that whole scene was not proper.
Well, she probably said, yeah, I'll take them. Can I just change them to them right now? It's probably what she said, right?
Oh, I
In
guess.
the store. Well, I'm not sure I would. Well, whatever. I don't know. I would probably want to wash mine first, but
Yeah, I agree.
So she
But
puts
that's
her.
why they made the whole production of bringing out the box of clean underwear and handing her one. She
Yes.
didn't just take the one off the display.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
So Jake walks up to the trash can. He sees the bag with the underwear in it. It's, when I say bag, it's like it's like a tiny little shopping bag, right?
Yeah, it's a fancy bag that they would, with handles.
He sees it there and he reaches in real quick and grabs the underwear out and puts them in his pocket when no one's looking. As
Which is
Gloria's
totally
getting her car.
creepy. That's just creepy. This dude they try to make him out to be a nice guy, but this is not nice guy stuff. He's basically stalking this woman at this point.
But he has good intentions. He's trying to protect her.
He doesn't need her used underwear to protect her.
He could use them to strangle her assailant.
Oh, okay. As long as you're always thinking. That would be in your utility belt.
Along with my phone cords.
Yes, exactly.
So next, Jake follows her to a beach house.
It's a motel. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote, it must be a hotel. I was like, okay, what's going on here? So it's a beach hotel.
It's a cool looking motel.
Yeah, it's a nice hotel.
I really thought I would stay there now.
I would too.
I mean,
although, yeah, I probably would.
I mean, it's small. And the only weird thing is you go down, there's like side stairs and you go down everybody's patio.
Yeah, but do you think all those patios are each one unit? Like each floor is a separate unit?
Yeah.
You don't think there are like 2 units on every floor?
Oh, I don't know.
That was kind of the feeling I got originally. Because she walks all the way to the far end of when she goes to her room to the far end and walks in the sliding glass door.
All right, I guess then it would.
So I don't know if they're.
I wouldn't want people that close to me.
I wouldn't either.
Every patio faces the ocean and it's like tiered.
It's on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, right on the beach and it's tiered.
Yes.
So each one is up. I thought it was really cool.
Each one kind of overlooks the one below it. Actually, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's built into the hill, kind of.
Yes.
Anyway, I thought it was cool.
So Jake follows her there and then she walks to her room, apparently. He walks down to the beach.
Again, not a good distance.
No,
but okay.
He doesn't look like he's ready for walking on the beach.
No, he's got a corduroy jacket on.
Yes. In his jacket. And
suit jacket.
Whatever. So we see Gloria sitting on the deck.
Patio.
By the telephone. You see the telephone there? She was sitting there. I had a feeling she was waiting for a call.
Right.
Then Jake sees the couple in the room above Gloria leave. They take their suitcases and they leave, and the lady bitches about there's no elevator or whatever.
There should be an elevator. They're an older couple. Yeah. Yes.
So he runs up there and stands on the balcony above Gloria's room and listens.
But she would see him run by.
Call. If she was looking.
Well,
she knows he's there at this point because she's already like looked at him and made it known that
she recognized
you're following this same guy I saw at the lingerie store or whatever, right? But she doesn't seem to be too concerned. So Gloria's on the telephone, and apparently whoever she was going to meet is not coming to meet her.
Her date's not coming.
Yeah, so you think this is interesting. So you think it was a date?
She bought underwear.
Okay.
I mean, do you buy special underwear to meet your friends?
No. So she's married, right?
Yes. Do we know that?
Yes, not yet, but we do.
But we don't know that at this point. So it could have been anyone. She could have been a date.
Okay.
But when she's talking on the phone, she says, he hit me again. I really need someone to talk to. It almost sounds like it's going to be a girlfriend. That's who normally you would call in that situation.
She wears something special for her.
But right. She's not going to buy.
Well, she could.
She might, but from experience, I would say no.
Okay. So Gloria goes down to it's one of those beaches that have like changing tents on them, right?
That look like circus tents to me. Yeah, they're changing
tiny tents where you can go in and change your clothes. So she goes down there, and as she's going down there, then Jake sees the satellite repair guy follow her to the beach from the other side of the building. Then Jake runs down to follow her. Jake catches up to her and says, "Hey, someone is following you.
Someone's following you. And
And
she's
she
like,
says,
yeah,
I know.
you
She doesn't
weirdo.
say that then.
No, but
And then the satellite repair guy runs up and takes her purse and runs away. Jake runs after him.
there's a chase on the beach.
Yes.
It's hard to run in loose sand, That's because they both were out of breath pretty quickly.
Yes.
They didn't go very far.
No, but Jake follows him into a tunnel-like structure.
Jake would have caught him if not for the
And when he does
tunnel.
that, he kind of stops halfway and he becomes very claustrophobic again. He has like one of his attacks and he is like, can't move, paralyzed with fear, basically.
Flattened against the wall. He's freaking out.
And then the satellite repair guy dumps the purse and takes what I thought was a credit card
Me too.
out of it. And then he yells a triumphant yell and runs away. So Jake manages to work his way to the purse.
Yeah, he's inching along, struggling
Along
mightily.
the wall.
Yeah.
Like he's walking on a cliff or something.
Right. Exactly. To get to the purse.
Gets to the purse and starts putting her belongings back in the purse and finds her driver's license and finds out her name is Gloria.
Yeah, it has her name and address.
Yes,
And it looked like it was a piece of paper.
it did.
Were
Is that the way
driver's
California
license-
licenses are?
No, but were ours back then? I don't think they were
I don't
paper.
think so. No.
No.
I think they've always been laminated. I mean, shit, my Kings Island pass in 1984 was laminated, right?
I just thought that was strange that it really looked like a piece of cardboard. I mean, it was a license, had her picture and her name and address, but it didn't have height, weight, hair color, all that. So I don't know. But I think it was her license.
Could have been a state ID card, I guess. I don't know.
It could have been any ID card now that I think about it, but whatever.
But it did say state of California on it.
Right. That's true. But he's shaky and sweaty and he picks up her purse.
Yes.
And then you hear click, 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 click.
Yeah. Apparently she ran all the way across the beach in her heels.
Yep.
That just occurred to me just now.
Yep. She's got serious sand in her shoes, let me tell you.
Or she took them off and then put them back on before she got back in the concrete.
For effect, yes.
But anyway, she runs in, who we now know as Gloria, runs in and helps Jake walk out.
And he tells her the guy took something.
Yes. He says, check the contents. He took something. Then Gloria asks Jake why he's been following her. Did her husband hire him? She asks.
Yeah. Did my husband hire you?
He says no. And then they, as you say, kissy face.
Oh my God. This sequence, I was like, is he dreaming? I thought he went into like a trance or something because it was quite passionate. I'm just going to say that.
And
they
the next
went
thing
at
I wrote
it.
is the camera is making me dizzy.
Me too. Dizzy camera is
'Cause
going
it's
around and around.
Spinning around them 360 degrees.
But they are like acting like they are, I mean, in an adult film or something.
Yeah, they're gonna get busy right there, right in that tunnel on the beach.
Right there. Right. I mean, that's why I thought, is he dreaming and then he's going to snap out of it or what? But no, that really happened.
Yeah. And then Gloria stops and says, she can't do this. Not here, she says.
And she runs through the tunnel.
She runs through the tunnel and he can't follow her.
No.
Not sure she knew that he couldn't follow her, but
we know.
I kind of think she did, because as they got closer to the end, she could see him like breathing and getting back to normal. So I think she had an idea what was going on with him. So next we see Jake back at the house practicing what he would say to Gloria on the phone.
Which, how did he get her number?
Don't know.
The
Must have been
number
in
was
her
not on the
purse somewhere.
driver's. Maybe, but her number wasn't on the
He
license.
could have seen it somewhere in there. Well, Karen, back in 1984, they had these things called phone books.
Oh yeah.
And now that he knows her name and address,
exactly.
if she's in the book, he can find her.
And almost everyone was in the book back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Anyway, he says something really crude on the phone, but he's practicing calling her.
Yes. Then he sees Gloria arrive at home, followed by a police officer, ? I wrote.
Right. Or security ? I don't know who
Guy in
it
a
is.
uniform, but it looked very much like the same car that the dude who arrived there earlier that took the money was driving to me. I didn't see a police cruiser. pull in after her. You know what I mean?
No, that's why I thought maybe it was security. Like she lived in a gated community or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird, I thought. So Jake watches on the telescope as he's watching Sam calls to check in and to ask if there's any messages for him or anything.
He sees the big white dog, the white German Shepherd when he's looking through.
This is the first time we see the dog.
Yeah, and she's having a drink.
So he gets off the phone with Sam. Then he sees the satellite repair guy upstairs in Gloria's house stealing from her safe. And he has a large drill in his hand.
I thought it was a gun. I didn't know it was a drill.
I know it was a drill.
Is that to open the safe?
I think so.
And the security guy's gone.
Yeah, and the police officer leaves.
Yeah.
After Jake sees that, oh my God, there's a guy upstairs. Jake calls Gloria to warn her about the man. It rings a bunch of times. I'm surprised her machine didn't pick up.
It did ring a lot. She was not in a hurry to answer the phone.
But she picks up the phone, and just as she does, satellite repair guy comes up behind her, wraps the cord around her neck, begins strangling her, and picks her up off the ground by her neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gloria somehow knocks the guy out by kicking him in the shin. This is my next line.
Well, Jake runs over. So he doesn't call the police. He just runs over there.
He just runs
and you're
over
right.
there.
And they fall onto the bed.
After she kicks him in the shin, and he appears to be knocked out lying
right.
there.
There's lots of unconsciousness in this film that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I'm like, did he hit his head on something? What's happening here?
So Jake runs over to the house.
Well, Gloria she wakes up
and tries to call 911.
But she's struggling to breathe.
Speak because of her neck. Then the satellite repair guy comes up behind her and sticks her in the back with a drill before she can get the call made to 911. Although they should know that where she lives now and everything. So they should be sending someone regardless, right?
Did it always work that way? Or was that implemented later? It might have been implemented later.
I don't know. Could have been. So the guy tries to kill Gloria with the drill, but the cord is too short.
This is a strange way to try to kill someone. He could have just re-strangled her.
Could have. But they tried to build a lot of suspense with this drill thing, right?
Yeah.
They kept showing the cord and
it's going to unplug. It's going to unplug.
The cord and her, and she's always like this with her hands up, not trying to run away. She could. I don't know.
And then she runs, falls, and she's unconscious. She's just laying there, but she does get up.
And the guy plugs his drill back in to a spot closer to where she lands.
She's unconscious, just like he was.
And starts to drill her.
Yep.
And by this time, Jake is broken into the house. He throws something through the window, and he's downstairs being attacked by the dog. And he sees the drill come down through the ceiling above him.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
With blood.
So this is where I said this is the scene that you could classify as horror, because there's a bloody drill bit through the ceiling, dripping blood.
So Jake runs upstairs, and as he runs upstairs, the killer runs out.
And then the police arrive.
Jake is questioned by the detective. He is the only witness. The detective is smoking a Marlboro. And then he sees the panties hanging out of Jake's pocket.
Well, he calls Jake a peeper, a pervert. Yes. And he explains that the guy stole a key card from her purse.
I kind of feel like Jake has been up front with the guy from the beginning, telling him how he knew what was going on, right? That's why he calls him a peeper and a pervert, although we don't see that part.
Right. I think he's being honest. But he says he stole the key card from her purse, and that's how he got in the door. The detective asks Jake why he was following her. And then he sees the underwear in his pocket. But he tells him that she threw it away and he took it. Like he's being truthful.
So he's a panty sniffer too.
Right. And Jake keeps saying he's tried to save her.
And the detective says he's really interested in Gloria's husband. He starts asking Jake about the husband.
But Jake says he doesn't know the husband.
Never met him. He says, I'm not going to hold you, because he has witnesses that collaborate Jake's story.
The detective also tells Jake that Gloria was very rich.
She was. Yes.
And Jake has to watch Gloria be dragged out in a body bag.
The detective says anytime he has a rich wife murdered, he always looks at the husband. You know?
Exactly. Haven't you watched 2020 or...
It's always the spouse.
And it's always about the money.
So next we cut back to the house. Jake is
Well,
watching.
the detective blames Jake for Gloria's death.
He does. He says he should have just called the police instead of like trying to run over there.
Right.
It's probably like a mile.
He's pretty brutal, and he blames Jake because you're right. If he had called the police, they would have gotten there sooner, presumably. So he's feeling sorry for himself. So he's back at the house.
Yeah, and it's a mess. It's trashed. Plants were knocked over. There's shit everywhere. Shit out of the fridge is lying on the floor. I think there's a milk carton. He's in the revolving bed, drinking whiskey, watching porn.
Is it a water bed?
I don't think so. I think it's just a rotating bed.
Okay. Because I thought they made sound effects that
it's a circular bed that spins.
Quite quickly, actually.
That just make me dizzy.
And and he's watching porn. He can only see it for 3/4 of the circle, and he can't.
Yeah, and during the porn, we see about 13 bare breasts. I made a note.
Oh, yeah.
Some could be duplicates. I don't know, but there's 13.
So one single.
One single, yeah. As Jake is watching the porn, he sees this actress named Holly Body do a dance. And he says, I've seen that before. Right? And it's identical to the dance that Gloria was doing.
Which is weird. Did you think it was that unique that you would have noticed it was the same? It wasn't all that elaborate or anything.
Yeah, but if he had been watching who he thought was this Gloria do the same dance for 2 nights now, right?
It's just twice though. I guess it would be the same.
But if it's the exact same, it's the exact same routine, then he sees it again in this film.
I guess.
And he sees that this Holly chick has a tattoo on her ass, right?
Oh, did he see that in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so he goes to the local video store.
Yeah. He goes to the local video store, the mom and pop video store, and rents the film starring Holly Body. I believe it's called Holly Body Does Hollywood.
Or Holly Does Hollywood,
yeah, something like that. Brings it home and he watches the dance again in the film.
Yeah, he fast forwards through it. He's not really interested.
Yeah.
Did you catch any of those breasts, or was that just?
No, it was pretty much the same as what he was watching earlier, because I think what he was watching earlier was a commercial for this film.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it pretty much looked the same to me, but he freeze frames on the shot of her tattoo on her ass.
Yeah, which is a Holly.
I just put that together just now.
Yeah, it's a Holly. Yeah.
That makes sense. So next we see Jake, I think it's the next day.
Using the phone book.
Yeah, he just got out of the shower and he calls the production company that produces Holly Does Hollywood. And as he's on the phone, he finds out they're doing auditions. I'm not sure that's why he was calling, but that's what he learns as he's listening, right?
Yeah, there's an actor there complaining. He shouldn't have to wait.
Because he's a real actor.
Right. Not just, what did he say? I can't remember.
A cock something.
Not just a cock jock, I think is what he said.
I don't know.
Because it's an adult film place.
Not just it was something like that though. Stock cock or something.
It was something like that. Yeah.
He's a real actor. So anyway, Jake goes to the audition. Yeah,
because they tell him they'll be doing auditions till 6. So he just jumps in the car and goes.
And he starts reading a scene with the producer guy, which I thought was funny.
They're not acting. They're basically just reading.
Reading a script, yeah.
Right. They're not even trying to
Reads the script and says, all right, take your clothes off so I can get some pictures. So next we see...
This was weird.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
It morphs into like an MTV video.
Right. Where Frankie Goes to Hollywood guy singing and Relax, Don't Do It. And in the X-ray, it lists him. I think his name is Holly Shepherd. It's the guy's name is Holly Shepherd. And Frankie Goes to Hollywood singing.
Oh.
His role listed on the X-ray was the singing doorman.
Well, this man escorts Jake. As he's singing, he's coming into a club.
Right. And so I wrote, so is this a real club or are they filming a scene? I
didn't know if he was hallucinating or what was happening, but there's a lot of buttless chaps in the club.
Yes. And I wrote, it must be a scene. That's what I wrote. Once he goes into the bathroom and we see Holly in the mirror Then he enters the bathroom and then the door closes. And then we see the camera crew in the mirror behind them. So then I'm like, oh, this is a scene. He's doing a
He got hired.
pornographic scene now.
Yes. He's
Because
doing
she
a
kind of
porn
says the
movie.
same line that the producer guy was reading with him earlier.
Right.
So Jake is doing a scene with Holly Body in a bathroom. And all the while he's doing Holly Body, he's having imaginations about Gloria at the beach.
Yes. I told you that's what it looked like. And they're basically reenacting the whole thing. So it was a bit odd.
So basically, Jake finishes. And then a guy comes in and says, "Where's the cum shot?"
He says it like 3 times, doesn't he?
Yeah. So next we see Jake. He goes to see Holly Body in her dressing room. And he's all dressed up now in leather, which I assumed you liked, Karen.
No, he was kind of cheesy looking.
His leather pants and his leather jacket and his slicked
He
back
looks
hair.
like he's trying to be a porn star.
A sleazeball.
Yeah. Like, why would you think I would like a sleazeball? That's not very
the
nice.
leather. You like leather. I know we talked, the Lost Boys.
I like
all
Lost
about
Boys
the
leather. I don't like porno leather.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a difference.
There's a difference. If you ever need advice on that, let me know and I'll help you out.
Okay. So Jake pretends to be a movie producer with all kinds of money. And he says he wants to have Holly in his film. Right?
Yeah, he talks her into
He
going
even says,
out for
"I
drinks.
like your smile," which
well, she goes
Holly
through
very
her
happy.
criteria for doing films, and it's pretty funny. I didn't write them down, but
Is this when they're at the bar though? Or
Yeah.
later? Okay,
No,
so they
it's
go to a bar or a club or something, and they're having drinks, talking about their business proposition. And this is when she goes through all of her demands, what she won't do and what she wants minimum.
And he asks her if she's done any special work.
Yes.
And then she says she has a routine that is a 10 on the Peter meter.
Yes.
Which is her dance that she does.
Right.
And he says, I've seen it a few
Yes.
times.
Yes, he does.
And then he compliments her acting and her smile.
And she seems to like that. Holly Body is played by Melanie Griffith, right? Which, have we said that yet?
I don't think we have, but yes, it is. She is.
Yeah. And this is one of her first films.
She's young.
But she's very good in it. We'll get there later.
Well, she always kind of plays a type, but she's very good at playing that type. Smart. People don't think she's smart, but she is, that kind of thing.
So then they're exiting the bar and they run into an actress who Jake has worked with in the past. And of course she asked, "Hey, are you working? You have any leads for me or anything?" And Holly thinks she's an adult film actress.
Right, because that's how Jake has presented himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's surprised that she doesn't know her, gives her the name and number of a producer and says, "Call them and tell them you know me," and ask her if she has any aversion to working with women.
Girls, I think she said.
She says, "No."
Acting is acting.
Yeah. Holly says, "Well, I don't know. I could never get into it." So whatever. That was kind of a funny part. I thought he was going to get busted there for a minute. I mean, I've seen it before, but it's been, like since 1985 or something. So
As soon as you say 19, it's a long time ago. It doesn't even matter.
So Jake takes Holly to the house he's watching.
So it does look like he's got a lot of money. Takes
It
her to
does.
this house,
Yeah, she's convinced. Like she
wants to
throws him
seal
down
the
on
deal.
the bed and
Yeah.
yeah. And then this is when Jake comes clean and tells her that he is not a producer. And she doesn't believe him at first because he's in this expensive house and all this shit. But
Yeah, he totally does come clean. He's not a
Yeah.
producer, not interested in making films.
Right.
He just says he saw her in the house.
yeah, he wants to know if she was the one dancing in the house. And he tries to find out who hired her. And then Sam calls.
Well, he says he thinks one of his friends has pulled a joke on him.
Yeah, a practical
Right.
joke on him.
Right.
And she says she never met the guy. It was just a phone call. And then a courier delivered the money and a wig and whatever was needed. Right. And
Right.
the key card. So then Sam calls. And then Jake asks Holly to listen in to the phone. And if that's the same guy who hired her. And Holly confirms that it was indeed Sam who hired her. So then Jake tries to explain to Holly what has happened, about the murder and everything.
But I'm wondering at this point, Gloria lives in that house. How
Yes.
did Holly get in there and do all this? I mean, did somebody keep Gloria busy? Or
Maybe
Wouldn't
her
you know
husband
some-
did. I don't know.
Wouldn't you notice maybe someone was in your house? And why wasn't the dog an issue? And I
I
don't
don't
know. It
know. I
just,
have questions about the dog later as well. So,
well, yeah, obviously. But
yeah, I don't know.
did I miss something that Gloria's not never home until a certain time? Or, you
Don't know.
know, it seems kind of risky.
Yeah. And then we see that Sam is watching them from binoculars.
And Sam sees Jake explaining things to Holly
Right.
through the windows.
So he knows that he knows, right?
Well, or
And now she
suspects
knows.
anyway. But she doesn't believe Jake.
She does not.
No. So they fight about it and she kicks him and leaves.
Yeah.
Lots of kicking of the shins in this movie.
Yes. So Jake,
but he didn't go unconscious. He stayed upright. So I don't know.
Yeah. He calls the police as Holly is leaving. And Jake explains everything to the detective. And he explains that Gloria's husband and Sam are the same person.
Well, he thinks they are. And Holly has to go down about 1,000 stairs.
And she's bitching all the way down.
Well, yeah, I would be too. She's trying to hitchhike home.
And she's bitching at the cars driving by her too.
As I would be too.
So Holly's hitchhiking and she witnesses a car crash, right? Now two cars come speeding by her and they crash.
It looked like 2 Porsches. Was it 2 Porsches or something?
Maybe it was. And then Holly is picked up by someone in a Ford Bronco, the satellite repairman.
Well, she stands in front of him.
Yeah, and demands him to stop.
Right. So I don't know if he would have stopped, but he did. He had to.
So then Jake gets in his car. He's going to drive down to the police station. But he finds that the road is blocked by the police due to the crash, right?
Yeah.
But he does see Holly in the Ford Bronco, a couple cars ahead of him. You see this shadow of a guy with a tire iron and kind of smacks her in the head with it, right?
And she's unconscious.
And she gone.
She should have counted.
She disappears.
Yeah. So that's like 4 unconscious people so far.
And Jake jumps out of his car and tries to go after them, but a police officer stops him. Jake eventually assaults the police officer and runs away. And the Bronco drives away as well. So I think he ignores the police blockade. Is that what he's doing? I
guess he just drove through and everybody goes to the reservoir.
Yeah. Next thing we see is a sign that says danger reservoir, no trespassing. Like the gate was open, he drove in and then someone closed the gate behind them. That was strange. But anyway, that's what happens. So
yeah, Jake has to scale
scale the fence, right?
Yeah.
So we see the satellite repair guy digging a grave for Holly,
who is unconscious.
The detective calls him the Indian. So I guess that's what Jake called him to the detective as well. Described him as an Indian. He kind of does look like an Indian.
Like, I didn't get that. Like, are they being like an American Indian?
Yeah, like an American Indian.
Oh, well,
they had long black hair and a ponytail, and
we'll just leave it as the creepy guy or
whatever. So Jake climbs over a pipe and he reaches the Bronco.
He's peeping again. He's just watching. This guy creeps and peeps all the time. He's watching from a distance.
I did make a note that the Bronco has a satellite dish magnet sign on it.
Like he's the repairman.
Yes. Then he sees the satellite repair guy put Holly in the hole he's digging and start to fill it in with dirt. Then they both hear growls.
Yep.
And I didn't know exactly what was going on, but it turns out that Gloria's dog is in the Bronco and he's not happy.
It's Sam's dog, I think.
I think it's Gloria's dog.
Well, they were married.
Yes, but I think it's Gloria's dog.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Because when they separated, she got the dog, apparently.
Then why does he have the dog? Oh.
Well, she's gone now.
But the dog wasn't there all those other times. I guess you're right. It was there that one time. Maybe they share custody.
I don't know. Jake sneaks over to the grave and looks in and asks Holly if she's okay. Then the repair guy reaches up and grabs him from the grave and pulls him in. And Jake and the guy, they kind of like scuffle. They're holding on to each other. And Jake is tearing at the repairman's face. And then he finds out it's a mask.
Yeah, it's Sam.
It is Sam.
But is Jake not freaking out while they're fighting? Because it's pretty claustrophobic in there. It's a tiny little hole.
He's on adrenaline. He doesn't realize where he is yet. But then as soon as he does, he freezes. And Sam puts Jake in the grave right next to Holly. And Sam begins to fill the hole in with dirt. And he starts talking about, I had this all planned out. You were the witness.
Yeah, his
And
part, they're actors.
Yeah, your
So
part
he
was the
had,
witness. I'm
you
gonna
had
give,
to play the hero.
yeah. He says, I'm gonna give you a second take, right? Or something. Tells him to act. You've got to act, Sam tells him.
And so Jake remembers his scene in the
Right.
movie in
We
the
cut
coffin.
back to the first scene we saw of him in the coffin. Only he's in his leathers now and not the vampire costume. So we know he's just
flashback. Yeah.
Yeah. And this time Jake crawls back into the coffin and says, let's do it.
Yeah. He remembers he'll get fired if he doesn't get the shot. So he's like, he's going to get the shot. And he does.
That's right. So Jake kind of comes to from
he gets his mojo back.
Claustrophobic fit he's having. And he grabs the shovel that Sam is using to fill with dirt and pulls himself out of the hole, even though Sam could let go of the shovel, but whatever. And Sam says, don't be so dramatic. And then the dog bursts through the window of the Bronco.
Which is ridiculous.
Not going to happen.
Right.
That's what I wrote, which would never happen. That's my next line. Because it's safety glass, for one thing. It was like a plane of glass, right?
It was like sugar. I don't know, because there's no way.
So the dog runs and jumps on Sam, pushing him into the reservoir.
Well, so Sam yells to the dog, kill.
Yes, he does.
And then Jake ducks and the dog jumps. And instead of hitting Jake, he hits Sam and they fall into the reservoir, into the water.
And I made a note. I hope the dog is okay.
So did I.
I kind of think the dog was going after Sam. I think it was Gloria's dog and he was going after Sam. But then I wrote, well, why didn't he attack him in the Bronco if he was in the Bronco the whole time?
Right.
So
I don't know.
Maybe he isn't. I don't know.
I think it's probably
Sam's dog. And
well, kind of.
He just because Jake ducked, the dog got Sam.
And they went in together.
That makes more sense, I guess. So next, Holly wakes up and she still doesn't trust Jake. She calls him a necrophiliac.
Yeah. She's confused. She missed all that action. She doesn't know what's happening.
He tries to help her out of the grave, but she refuses.
She won't get out.
And next, we cut to a shower scene from Vampire's Kiss when Jake went to argue with the director. That's the scene they were shooting. And then we see credits. And then we see like scenes, after or during the credits or between the credits. And
Jake has been rehired and he's got his role back and he's
acting in the shower scene with an actress and they need to take that actress out to put a body double in for her.
So they say, bring in the body double.
Yeah. So they like measure where they tell Jake
don't
to
move
keep
your
his
hand.
Hands. Yeah. They have a little marker where his hand is. Don't move it. And Jake asks, hey, well, how was my teeth flash? And Sipowicz says, that's the best teeth flash I've ever seen, babe. I'm so glad I fired that other guy.
Right.
This part was made for you.
Which is kind of funny. Well, he looks ridiculous in the makeup, like Twisted Sister almost.
Yeah.
But
so then the body double comes in and we have two more bare breasts, Karen. Although I'm not sure these two are natural.
Borderline.
Sure.
I thought it was going to be Holly, but no.
But we do see Holly watching the shoot. She is there watching and she tells the original actress, you're going to get so many dates after this.
I presume that means they're together.
I presume too as well. Then we see credits as Jake fondles the body double's breasts and he bites her on the neck and blood spills all over them.
Yeah, there's a lot of breast shots there at the end.
Yeah. And that is basically the end.
I have questions.
So we have a total of 19 breasts, Karen, if you were wondering. 19.
I wasn't, but okay, thanks.
I think we had 25. I think we said 25 in the Wicker Man. So
that was pretty low estimate, though. These were more gratuitous, I think.
Right,
The Wicker Man those were pagan rituals. This was.
Do you want to cover your questions, or do you want to cover what you were pleasantly surprised by?
Well, I just want to know what happened to the dog and what happened to Sam. Are they dead? Or is that my sequel?
Maybe it's your sequel. I don't know.
Because they just show him go underwater and then
it
was obviously a fake dog too.
I kind of think they're dead. Yes, I believe they are dead.
Well, you never know. If it's a true horror film, that doesn't mean anything.
So a little bit about Brian De Palma. Okay. He directed Scarface, and this was the first film he directed right after that. Have you ever seen Scarface?
I have not.
Okay. I have seen parts of it, but I've heard it's a good film.
I've heard it's violent, right?
Yes.
Extremely violent. Is that
And
Al Pacino?
yes.
Okay. Is that Hello to My Little Friend?
Yes. Playing
Okay.
Al Capone. Yeah. Bashes a guy head in with a baseball bat, so on and so forth. But the Motion Pictures Rating Association, or whatever the hell it is, gave him an X rating on Scarface originally. So he had to like cut some stuff out.
Wow.
And that pissed him off. Okay. So this was his next film. And his whole thing was they want to see what an X-rated film is. This is what an X-rated film should be. So he did this film. He wanted to get an X rating with this one. It was his purpose, right? He had a stick up his ass or something. I don't know.
Well, did this get it? This didn't get an X rating.
It did.
Oh.
It originally did, and they made him he had to take stuff out to get an R.
Did NC-17 exist back then?
I don't think so. No. This whole like theme for this film is basically Brian De Palma pretending he's Alfred Hitchcock. He wanted to do a Alfred Hitchcock thriller, and this is what he did. Him and this guy who wrote the screenplay.
I can see that.
Yeah, this is kind of like an ode to Rear Window.
Well, and Vertigo, right?
Yes, and Vertigo. Yes.
Yeah, because the guy that has vertigo and can't go up the tower and all that stuff. So,
correct.
I mean, I can see that, but it doesn't have the same finesse or something.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
I guess that just shows you how
nearly
hard,
as good as anything Hitchcock did.
But it shows you how hard that is, right?
That's what he was trying to do.
Because he's not a terrible director, and if this is him trying to be Hitchcock, you can see how difficult it is to be Hitchcock. I mean, when we were joking that we could remake Ed Wood's film, we probably could, but we could never remake
From Outer Space.
Yeah, we could never remake Psycho.
Well, we could remake it, but it wouldn't be as good.
Well, no, it would be terrible.
Yeah, we could do Plan 9 better.
Well, yes.
Is that what we were saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On a lower budget and better. Yes.
Him and the other guy who wrote the screenplay, they screened Rear Window and Vertigo and discussed the narratives that Hitchcock used for both.
Is that
films,
why they
this
picked?
Is what they came up with.
Is that why they picked Melanie Griffith?
Don't know.
Because her mom is Tippi Hedren.
Oh, is she? Well, he originally, in the porno film part, right? Those are real porno actresses, right?
Okay.
And he originally cast one of them to play the part of Melanie Griffith. And then he changed his mind and used Melanie Griffith.
Because you needed, no offense, and this may be the wrong term, but a real actress.
Right. He says, I discovered that using a real person to play a fictional counterpart doesn't necessarily make the character more real.
Is that a nice way of saying she couldn't really act?
I don't know. I don't know if it was saying that I couldn't hire a porn actress to play a porn actress. I needed a real actress to play a porn actress. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
So let's go to anything you were pleasantly surprised.
Well, it's hard to say because I really didn't know what to expect. I actually had confused this when you first said body double. I thought it was going to be like Body Snatchers or something. So I was completely unprepared for this movie because I was expecting something different. But I think the acting was pretty good overall.
Yeah, it was pretty good overall.
I wasn't disappointed by it. I thought,
I think the guy who played Jake overacted at times. Who I thought was Bill Maher, who I've for the last 40 years, but whatever.
But I don't know I don't know what it's like to have claustrophobia like that.
Don't either.
I don't like high places and stuff.
I don't either.
But I don't really freeze. But I could see, a panic attack. You could do that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I especially think Melanie Griffith was great in this film.
Why is that?
She was good. I think she killed it. I think she stole it. You know what I mean? She was good.
Well, she definitely played the part, and I'm sure, where she was very confident in being a porn star. She just was very casual and confident that this is what I do and I'm good at it. And, these are my parameters. And This is what I will do and what I won't do. So she exuded, you believed she was the character.
Right. And here's what Melanie Griffith said about playing the character. She says, I think I gave her a great amount of intelligence. I used to think I didn't want to do more nymphette roles, but now I think I can bring a lot of life to that kind of character.
Like I said, she plays a lot of roles where her intelligence is underestimated, and then she comes
kind of
through.
Plays the dumb blonde. You think she's the dumb blonde, but she's really not, right?
Right. She plays that a lot. And she plays it well. It's believable with her. You could see her on either end of the spectrum of intelligence. She can do either, and she does them well. I always liked her. I mean, didn't see every one of her movies or anything, but any movie I've seen with her in it, I've liked her. I think she's good.
For the most part, I do, but I really like her in this.
Well, really we won't say why.
Because she's really good. That's why.
You like her smile?
No,
No, I know she is good. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying what he said.
Like she did bring intelligence to it.
I think she did. I agree.
She seemed like a girl who wouldn't take any shit either. She had street smarts, right?
Well, like I said, she had confidence. She knew what she would do and what she wouldn't do, and she was comfortable with her role.
Right. Anything you were very disappointed in, Karen?
I don't know if it was the acting or the writing or the directing. Like scenes where he was following her in the shopping
same person
mall.
Wrote and directed it. So.
But I'm saying like the scene, like her being followed in the shopping mall, way too close, just so obvious. And then the weird thing on the beach where I thought it was a daydream or something. I don't know. I think it was just lacking a little finesse in something I can't quite put my finger on, but the dog jumping through the window should have just been open, just little things that seemed silly.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Plot holes.
I think just misdirection or miss something. But a male director might not know that following a female that close is going to set off all kinds of trigger warnings. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't know that unless you live that.
Well, I would think the actor would say,
like the woman being followed would say, he's way too close to me, but maybe she did and they didn't listen.
Maybe she did.
And maybe it's too hard to get that in the shot or something, I don't know.
Maybe.
So plot holes I'll go with.
I would think Deborah Shelton would have said.
Yeah, because I'm sure she gets followed all the time.
He's far too close.
I would have went into the security station 15 feet.
She has one of those voices. One of those.
After.
Keeper voices.
So what about you? What did you like?
Well, I said, I thought Melanie Griffith crushed it.
That's true. Disappointed in anything?
I always love me some Deborah Shelton.
Well, that's not disappointing.
I like seeing Sipowicz again. I haven't seen him in a while. I like him, Dennis Franz. So some things I was disappointed, and I don't know. Like I said, I've seen it, right? But when I saw this time, and I say I don't know if it's because I've seen it before, but that guy in the house looked like that Sam guy wearing glasses and a hat to me. The Indian looked like a guy wearing a fake chest piece and a mask to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it must have been because you've seen it before, because you kind of knew what to look for.
But it's been like,
if I watched it again,
30, 40 years, right?
Even so, if I watched it again, I would know now that the guy coming out of the studio was Jake when I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, you didn't know because he wasn't all in makeup and all, so you didn't know what he looked
I didn't
like,
know.
Right? Yeah.
But the whole point was he was leaving earlier than intended, so he could catch his girlfriend and all that. But I had no idea. I missed that completely. But if I ever watched it again, I would know exactly who it was.
Actually, speaking of Melanie Griffith, she was nominated for a Golden Globe, a National Society of Film Critics Award, a New York Films Critic Award. Yeah, she was nominated 3 times for awards for this film for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, you're right. I think she stole it.
I mean, there are script holes, like you said, the dog wouldn't break through the glass.
And he's just kind of a creep.
And we only saw the dog when it was convenient for the dog to be seen.
But the whole thing is this Jake's a creep. I mean, I know they're making him out to be the nice guy, but he's a peeper. He's a stalker. He takes her old underwear.
Well,
I mean,
he's basically led by the hand by Sam and saying, "Here, come look at this and peep at this girl."
but he does it. He does it all. Nobody told him to take the underwear. Nobody told him to
That's true.
stalk her. He could have called the police. He stalked her instead. He
think he
followed
had-
her.
I guess, yeah. I think he had good intentions, though.
Yes, they make him have good intentions, but he's a creepy guy from a woman's perspective. I'm just going to say he's creepy. I wouldn't trust a guy who was stalking me.
Okay, I can see that.
And if she
Right.
knew he took her underwear out of the garbage, she'd be even more freaked out.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. Well, I would.
Well, someone had your underwear out of the trash.
someone
That would
picked
be
my underwear out of
something.
the garbage.
Some woman following you with your old underwear in her pocket. That's dedication right there. After watching you put on new underwear. Think about that. How weird is that?
Yeah, I guess.
Especially as a man being stalked by a woman, you could probably fight her off. But as a woman being stalked by a man, you're at a disadvantage.
Oh, you can still fight him off, but
Well, apparently, if you kick him just right, he'll go unconscious. So there is that.
But Jake had no ill will intended toward her,
But you don't know that.
I know. I get it.
If some girl was bringing your old underwear out of the garbage and stalking you, I'm telling you, you wouldn't trust her. Anyway.
How many cocktails did it take you to get through this film?
Well, I didn't hate this film, but I don't think it's really horror.
It's not, but it's as much horror as Psycho is, if you think about it.
I guess, but Psycho had a dead mother, lots of killings. He killed a lot of people.
True.
This was kind of just a husband.
It's a Hitchcock thriller, but
trying to kill his wife. And I mean, there was the drill. That part was kind of horror. But otherwise, I don't know. 3. I'm leaning towards 4, but I'll go with 3. I did not like it.
I'll go with 3. I mean, it's pretty average.
I mean, I think
I liked it a lot better the first time I saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
After
the twists
watching
are
it
there.
so many times, I know it. You can see like, well, that would never happen. There's like you start to see all the plot holes. So
I think it just made me uncomfortable. And maybe it's just a different era that it's acceptable for this guy to do. And I don't mean to harp on it, but I'm saying for this guy to do all this stuff, to be a voyeur. It's never acceptable, but I think it's less acceptable now. At least I hope it is. That these are things that shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be aiming your telescope at someone's house, especially, well, I thought at the time, a woman by herself. I think I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was kind of icky.
Yeah.
But I think it's a different era. And I think watching it in 1984 would be a lot different experience than watching it now.
I agree.
I think it would have freaked me out a lot more in 1984 because I would have started closing my blinds all the time. Not that I do that dance or anything, but
well, you do that dance in the hotel.
Well, yeah, but that's when you can only hear me then. You can't see me.
Okay. I agree. 3 cocktails. What about our cocktail or my cocktail?
I liked it. I think it's good.
It would be better if I strained it better.
Well, yeah, it's like the mojito sometimes will have a lot of mint in it, but I really like the basil.
There's a lot of basil.
I
But
like
I still
that
get the
flavor.
strawberry.
Yeah. The grape, I don't know why it needs to be there.
I don't get the grape at all. I get the strawberry and the basil.
And I might add a little more sugar just because I would like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called a voyeur, but I think it's a very pleasant Sunday afternoon in the summer evening drink.
Yeah.
After you did your thirsty work, it's very summery and refreshing, almost like a lemonade, but a strawberry drink.
Yeah, I agree. Anything we learned today, Karen?
A lot about cars.
We always learn about cars, I think, don't we?
I don't know if we learned anything else.
One of these times I'm not going to do that. No, I mean, there wasn't a lot to
We learned not to, if you're going to stalk someone, don't follow too closely.
No, I did the Chemosphere. That's the name of the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Chemosphere house.
Who owns it?
Let's see. It was
Or does it say who
designed-
built it?
Yeah, it was
who designed it?
designed by John Lautner in 1960. The Encyclopedia Britannica once called it the most modern home built in the world.
How big is it? Does it say square footage?
Yeah, it's around 2,200 square feet of living space.
It looks a lot smaller than that.
It's in the Hollywood Hills, just off Mulholland Drive.
I wonder, this is going to sound crazy. It just occurred to me. It must be used in a lot of movies. Because I just watched Charlie's Angels, the one with Drew Barrymore in it. And I think she flies out the window of the house that looks like that. I wonder if it's the same one. I don't know
which. It is directly inspired a house in the 2000 Charlie's Angels movie, but that was not the house. It directly inspired it.
I just watched that the other night when I couldn't sleep. And it just occurred to me that it looked like that. Yeah.
It has been in other TV shows like The Outer Limits. So there's something.
Well, we learned about the Pup and Tail. What was it called? The Pup and Tail, what was the hot dog place?
Tail of the Pup.
Yeah, you said
Tail of the Pup.
that was a landmark. We learned about that.
Yeah. Apparently it's currently not open, but someone is trying to refurb it and reopen it.
So, quite a few things actually.
Yep. And the whole Hitchcock connection to the film, I guess.
Yeah. I can see that, but like I said, that just shows you how hard it would be. Nobody's Hitchcock but Hitchcock. Because you don't think that directing would be that difficult, right? You have a script, you get the actors to do it, you think you're done. But there's finesse to it, obviously, that I would not have.
So, Karen, I believe the next film is your choice. Is it? Is it not?
It is.
What are we going to watch?
We're going to watch Fright Night, the 1985 film.
Now, why, Karen, would you pick that movie?
Because we love birthdays.
Yes, and it's Roddy McDowell's birthday on September 17th, which is just a couple days after the Fright Night episode comes out.
He'll be thrilled. Well, he's not with us anymore.
Do you have a drink for that film, Karen?
We do. It's called The Vampire Bite.
Vampire Bite. Hang on, there's a note. Vampire Bite. What am I going to need?
Vodka.
I got it.
7-Up.
I can get that.
And a couple of drops of, it says Kool-Aid Tropical Punch Flavor Enhancer. But I think any of those drink drops
Yes.
that would be of the red coloring will work.
Yeah, like Crystal Light or Mio.
Yeah, I think I have some of those.
Mio. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
it's just really to give it, it'll give it a touch
So
of
it's
flavor.
Vodka
but it's more-
7-Up with red coloring.
it'll give it a hint of flavor,
Yeah, it will.
but it's more the color.
Yeah.
And we'll line it with some corn syrup and red food coloring. Get the drippy going.
We'll try.
Well, if only we needed to muddle. But no.
Can I use honey in red food coloring? I did pretty well with that one.
Yeah, you can do that. I think they use corn syrup mostly because it doesn't have a taste.
Hmm.
Honey does have a little bit of a taste,
All right,
but I
Karen,
think it would be fun.
anyone you need to thank?
I was thinking about it and I never have anyone to thank, but I'm going to thank everyone who has left us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate your support.
We do. And we can't really grow the podcast without those. So if you could take a minute and do that, we would really appreciate it.
Yes, that would be awesome.
What about you?
I just need to thank Verse 13, our favorite band, for letting us use their music in the podcast.
It really
What's it?
does make it better.
Yeah, once again, their info is linked in the notes.
Give them some love.
And I would also like to thank the BBC Sound Effect Library.
For all the buzzes.
That's where I get all the buzzers when Karen is wrong about the cost of cars.
Oh. You should mix those up because there's so many of them.
Maybe I should pick some longer ones. All right. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
If you want to get social with us, you absolutely can. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Email us your questions and comments to scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Search for us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast and check out our website at scaryspirits.com. You can find all the recipes for our themed adult beverages in the recipe den on the website. We are especially excited about our Scary Spirits merch store. Lots of cool stuff with our logo on it. You can find the link to the store on the website. And be sure to share the love and help others find us by leaving us a 5-star review. As always, thanks for listening.